you. Can I present this?
Thank you, Chairman. Members will recall the application for the Care Village on land off of Cartwright Drive at Titchfield. And I've put the plan up here with the outline of the application showing the Care Village. Planning permission is granted subject to quite a complicated legal agreement. However, the applicant has actually now found a care company who will be bringing the scheme through to build and run the scheme. And there's one small point of the agreement that they've asked that we would seek members' authority to vary. Members will recall the scheme is an extra care scheme. People that buy property or buy into the facility have to be, as it's set out in the legal agreement, in need and in receipt of a care package. What's being asked is that people are given the ability to purchase the property who are in need and buy into the care package, but they might not, on occupation at that time, actually be in receipt of it. So they're paying for it, they need it, but at that time they might not need it. So, for example, if it's somebody who's got onset of dementia or Alzheimer's, they want to buy a property, get everything sorted out in their life. So that's what the small change is that you will see that I've set out on page 28 and 29 of the report.
I'm afraid I don't really understand this. What it means in essence is that if you occupy one of these premises and pay for a care package whether you need it or not, you can occupy it. That's the only difference. They will be, well they'll have to be, because it says
you're actually
we're changing is receiving from the owner to will be or will be receiving from sometime in the future. Who is going to, is there some medical grounds on which that person has to prove a future need? And the other one says over 55-year-olds are in need of extra care. We're replacing that with who has entered into a domiciliary care package. In other words, whether they need it or not, if they're paying for it, they qualify. So it all comes down to funding in the end. Whether you buy this package, whether you need it or not, now or in the future, as long as you buy the package. I don't see what the logic of it is. Other than it increases it widens their conditions for occupancy to say you don't have to need a care package now, as long as you buy into it, you're okay.
The reason, and we've spoken to them at some length about this one, the reason they're looking for the change is essentially as Kim described. You're going to get some scenarios where some very poor people have got a progressive illness and life to get all their matters, everything sorted, all their affairs in place and moved in, whilst they're able to do so. They know they're going to deteriorate in the future, they would like to try and sort it whilst they're able to do so. And as it was originally framed, they were worried that flexibility wasn't there. I.e. this would have to move in automatically that was in need of and automatically would need to receive that care. So that's really what the change is about.
Yeah. Is this a planning issue then?
It's a planning issue, Chairman, in terms of we gave a very specific permission for the use of the site, and that was as an extra care unit alongside. It wasn't intended to be an unrestricted residential proposal.
Okay. Picking up on what Councillor Mandry said, I mean, you could have a situation where, I mean, we're all going to need some form of care later on in our life. So you could get a situation where somebody is 55 years of age, perfectly active, but knowing that it's the age of 65 or 70, they're going to need some sort of care package. But this relaxation of wording, I would interpret it, could move in.
Yes.
So therefore, but they're going to have to, so because they're thinking miles ahead. Now, I don't have a problem with somebody who knows they're going to need a care package in the next year, whatever, moving in. That seems legitimate and genuine and what have you. But allowing this wording to allow somebody to move in 15, 20 years ahead of when they actually may need that care does seem to be slightly wrong, because what they're looking at is taking the advantage of a very nice unit in a very nice setting, and therefore, okay, they're going to have to pay for the care, as I interpret the wording, but not actually taking anything from it. It just seems a very strange situation, and I'm not sure I really support it.
I'm going to seek some clarification with somebody in the room.
Chairman, I've asked this gentleman to introduce himself and which company he's with, but I think if I just asked you as the committee to ask you questions directly of him, I think you'll be able to assist on the reasons for those changes, if that's okay.
Yes, just fine.
Hello, members. My name's Adam Simkin from a development company called Minton Healthcare, and we're the developers of the proposed scheme, and obviously we came before you and granted consent for the scheme. We're developers, we're not care operators, and we spent the last several months trying to secure a care operator for the scheme. We have entered into a lot of dialogues with a number of different care operators, and this issue has cropped up time and time again, to the extent where we are now before you asking for this to be varied to essentially change the Section 106 to allow residents, certainly in the scenario which Kim Haler suggests, allows them where their needs are quite low upon entry, and therefore it gives them the flexibility, and certainly in a scenario where you've got early onset dementia, you're looking, and you've got the cognitive ability to do so, you're looking to purchase that unit at that time, knowing that you've got the degenerative illness occurring. And what the whole type of extra care is all about, and the flexibility of extra care, is making sure that it's a housing continuum, that you've got the flexibility to allow people to come in and buy those units where they've got inevitable decline in their health and are buying the units and paying for what is a very expensive care package in the grand scheme of things. And if you didn't have those care needs, albeit low, you're not going to pay for those care needs. And the issue, that's where the issue arises, because if the operators don't have that flexibility, you are restricting a significant market of people who require this accommodation, because the details in the appendix that actually qualifies what that extra care definition is quite prescriptive in terms of the medicine, toileting and this. What they're saying is, by allowing people to come into the scheme and essentially knowing that they will have high care needs as they go through, that is a just and certified reason to look for this variation. It's certainly not a scenario whereby people are going to be purchasing these units in 15, 20 years thinking they may or may not have care needs. That's not what this is about at all. This is simply about people who are paying quite expensive care packages, which are provided by the 24/7 domiciliary care team on site. They are a minimum age requirement. They are entering into that care package, and therefore, the critical aspect of this whole scheme is that the care will be provided. And at some instances, and as Kim's report quite clearly states, it's only in some instances where those care needs are very low. The majority of residents are going to be, those care needs are very high, equivalent to full-time residential care. And this is a substitute for residential care in its purest form.
Satisfied?
Yep, Is there a sort of certified prognosis with regard to the incoming occupant?
Yes, there is, yeah. So the, correct me if I'm wrong, Kim, but essentially the domiciliary care team will be on site, and they will essentially vet the care needs of the individuals, residents coming into the scheme. There is extensive dialogue between the on-site domiciliary care agency and the local GPs, transferring of medical records, and they are essentially the first layer of care. So it's understanding what those needs are, it's prescribing a care programme to suit those needs, and then the ongoing dialogue between GPs continues.
It's a case of caveat emptor, I think.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that the answer we've just heard effectively says yes to Councillor Price's scenario. That would be a potential outcome of what we just heard. Unliked it may be in terms of how far in advance you may want to invest that sort of money, pay those funds, but nevertheless, if we agree this change, we will be opening up to the type of scenario that Councillor Price has suggested. I'm convinced of that. Now, having said that, maybe there's a fundamental question, which is, does that matter? Does it matter in terms of, you might recall when we approved this, we also did discuss the borough-wide needs, so this type of extra care accommodation. And we did identify that there were significant needs within the borough. So if we agree this application, we can no longer guarantee that level of extra care need within the borough, because we are watering down the basic prerequisite to be able to acquire a care package from property on this site. Having said that, I think I will go along with the recommendation, because I think in practice the cost premiums are such that will probably put off most people that weren't likely to be going down this route of extra care anyway. So I will accept the recommendation, but we need to understand we are changing the base requirement of extra care, 100% extra care need.
I don't understand Councillor Price's point, or even Councillor Evans' caveat. I can't understand anybody who is reasonably fit thinking that perhaps in 20 years' time I won't be, and so I'll pay a horrendous amount of money now while I'm fit in order to get a place there which I may or may not need in 20 years' time. It's the high premium of the cost of the package that I think will deter people who are fit and well.
That's the implication that we've got to make. Do you assume that's a correct interpretation?
Yes, I think, with the greatest respect, I think we shouldn't try and overcomplicate this in the sense that this is the simple fact is that we're trying to provide an accommodation, and if you look at the Department of Health Housing, if you look at the extra care, government extra care strategy coming forward, this is providing flexible, suitable accommodation for older persons in need of care. And if that is what this scheme delivers and achieves through the planning permission and the Section 106, then I don't think we should hesitate too much in granting permission for this.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, I thought Councillor Evans actually put it spot on, because I'd written down, is it an old folks home with paid for but optional care package? And I think you put that pretty well. It does change the status of it slightly, but I think I would go back to them, if we've been presented with what we've been presented with today, back when we granted the original permission, we'd have probably still gone with it.
That's one round and more.
Just wondering, Chairman, if those of a certain age should declare an interest.
Yes, we could all be in there. Right. Can I propose we accept this? Someone? Opposed by councillor Cartwright, seconded by councillor Ford. Those in favour, please show. That's it then.